YouTube? Okay, so this is my spiritual journey, just all put together in little mini clips that each title will have the highlight of what I'm talking about in bite-sized uh, increments. That way you can choose like the different concepts that you would like to hear about. And it's just going to be like my thoughts, also things that I've learned. I'll be putting a lot of stuff in the description. And let's have conversations. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know where you are on your spiritual journey. Are you like 6 days in, 6 months in, 60 years in? Like, let's talk about it. Anyways, you want to enjoy the video. So here we go. Okay, so what is this? Part 2? Yeah. So this one is about again December, and how it's the 12th month, and we're in a vibration energy of 12, master builder. But also, if we just talk about like the ebb and flow of life, uh, when I googled it, like I was like, what does ebb even mean? Like, have you ever really thought about that? Like, have you ever heard like a phrase and you're like, where does that come from? So I was just like, what does ebb mean? And so it's like to like retreat back. It's like when the water like retreats back, and flow. I've been like looking a lot into that. The guy who wrote that new book, The Rise of Superman, he talks a lot about flow in there. And it's funny because I've been doing Tai Chi for 5 years now. And I know that I've read some, like, I don't know if it's like Taoist or some other stuff that's just like, where, I keep saying y'all know, like y'all know. My bad. That's like a personal thing. But, it's like there's a lot of philosophy on flow and getting into flow, and how like it just makes your life just better and harmonious, all that stuff. So when people say you have to just get into the ebb and flow of life, how I think of it is like the retreating and then going forth, kind of like feminine energy, masculine energy, like light and dark, like that duality. But how I think of duality is more like 2 to the second squared. So it's like there's 2 dualities, but then they have their own 2 dualities. Does that make sense? And then there's 4. So that's why I'm always like 4, 4, 4, the 4 elements, because I'm breaking it down to its simplest components. Because as you start to go further up in the numbers, it gets like all kinds of complicated. And even with like dimensions, we're on the 3rd dimension, like, so we have certain rules in this reality, and anyone born here chose to be in this reality. So going back to the original point of the ebb and flow of this reality is that idea of the middle road is understanding the integration of the 2 selves. Because when you don't integrate yourself, like we talk about this in Tai Chi, when you're fighting your shadow self, you're just making your life so much more difficult. But when you're making it more like a sparring match or like a fun wager, it's like, oh, I'm just playing with you, or you just playing with me. Like, it's, I, I realized like in the Bible, that's why they used to always have like God and like Lucifer like make bets on like people. Like, oh God, I bet that guy wouldn't love you if you took all the stuff that you give him away. And it's like, oh, no, they would still love me, I bet. It's like, it almost was just trying to explain to you that concept of like, the angel and the devil on your shoulder, and then you're like the head in between. And so we're all neutral beings, technically. We all have free will to go light or dark, technically, yes. But there's a way of also going with both or neither. And I think of it like a multiple choice question, right? If the question was, A is yes, B is no, C is all the above, and then D is none of the above. It's kind of like that. Because I used to have a biology class that used to have the whole exam like that, where it would just be like, A, flowers sometimes can be blue. B, um, it never rains. So it's like, okay, clearly it's A. But like if B was it always rains, then it's C. Because like, yeah, it's all the above. But like if the A is like it never rains and B is there's no such thing as the sun, then D, neither. Like it's none of this. It's none of the above, right? And so it's like almost like in life, when I think of like almost like that Banderswitch game, the show on Netflix, and they're like always doing the yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. We're told a lie that it's like yes or no. It's like a duality within the duality, right? It's not. It's yes, no, all, and none. That's actually your options, and then there's more options after that technically. But like, let's keep it simple, okay? Um, And so, okay, I know it's like you went off tangent about Yule, but this is why I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Okay, go with me. Also, I love to go on tangents. This is why I'm on YouTube. Okay, um, is the ebb and flow of life. The everything that goes up must go down. It's even a science principle. Gravity, that kind of thing. This is a time period where people used to get sad and they needed to have celebrations to like pep them up. Um, Even if you think of like Persephone and Mother Earth and that story of like Mother Earth was so sad when Persephone went to hell or the underworld or whatever. And so that one season that she's in hell or whatever, it's winter. It's like fall starts to get cold because she's sad. She's about to leave, and then she gone. So winter is like, cut it, and then spring was, oh, she's back. Yay. Warm the earth again. And then summer was like, oh, yay, it's summer. But then the other day I was thinking like, but what about if you're not in the hemisphere where that's how the seasons work? And it was like, real talk. So it's not technically a concept that has to be like so like concrete. Like this is exactly what we're talking about. It's like a metaphor, the ebb and flow of life. There's gonna be periods in your life where you're like, summer, I'm feeling great, I'm in the flow. Hey, I'm in the flow. Hey, but then it starts a little downhill. Like then we're not okay. It was winter, and then you come out of it and you're like, you know what? I'm alive, and I've gotten out of every single thing I've ever gotten myself into, and I'm gonna get out of this. And guess what? Just did. Okay, so I got this. So it's a part of the ebb and flow of life, and so even like New Year's, like Chinese New Year's, the reason why like the red and stuff like that was because there was the idea that spirits were out there trying to like snatch your soul, and people would be scared in the house, and there was a kid who lit off a firecracker and scared the spirits away. And so every New Year's they would light firecrackers to keep the bad spirits away and make it a celebration instead of everyone all like in their house like by themselves and like in fear. And I just remember thinking like, again, what if all these are like metaphors? It's like the idea is like, this is just a sad time. It's cold. Like the days are short. You're not getting enough vitamin D from the sun. You're just not feeling it. Like you need to pep it up. You got to have celebrations. You need to have together time. You need to get with your family. And so like having all the holidays towards the end of the year kind of makes sense. Like, cause it's just like, oh, we need to keep it pumped cause we've been going all year. And to keep us pumped to end the year right, like we need to have celebrations. right? And so that is kind of like my idea of like why all of it just comes together. So it doesn't matter like what you're celebrating, right? So Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy what? Dang, what's the other? Hanukkah. Thank you, thank you. Happy Yule, happy all that stuff. The other stuff, I probably forgot a bunch of people. Um, yeah, because technically, like, they're all to help us, like, come together and be together. So, fun fact about Yule, though, is like a lot of the stuff we use for Christmas in the Christian tradition is from Yule, like burning of the log. I feel like I wrote this down. I wrote something down. Yeah, it was the log, wreaths, the mistletoes. Even there's one like mythology where like Santa originally was a lady, like, but it was like obviously she was called Santa, but different things like that. It's just really funny, kind of like how traditions blend all the time, and we don't really think about it, but like if you kind of think of all of them as a big picture to this like overall concept, then it just makes so much sense. And so with like Kwanzaa, it comes out of like the seven principles. And what I like about that is, when I was a kid, I went to school in Detroit, and I had this teacher called Baba Ya, and he made us learn the seven principles. And I just remember like learning it. It was like, oh, emoji, like it sounds like emoji, like anyway. I don't know, just like, or oh, like what was the one? Like coochie chakalia. I was like, this word is lit. Who created that word? Give them an award, because it just flows off the tongue. Imani. Like whenever I hear a black girl named Imani and she spelled it that way, I'm like, your parents right. Your parents did right. I don't know. I feel it. So, so just like this time of 12, the endings, but also starting anew. It's like, don't start your resolutions in January. Start them in December, because it just makes more sense. With just the ebb and flow of life. Does that make sense of like why I'm saying it like that? I don't know. If it doesn't, put some in the comments. Comments are there for a reason. And also, if you're like, oh, I want to talk about my traditions and what I do, and or I don't think any of this makes sense. Actually, everything you just said makes no sense. I just think you're rambling on. You can tell me that too. You're not gonna hurt my feelings in cyberspace. So, and if you do, I'll just delete it. And oh, you ain't supposed to say that. I don't care. Just did. So, this will be part 2. On, again, just like how my brain works on these spiritual concepts, aka like just stuff I think about or things that happen on my spiritual journey. Like I said, I'm just gonna keep randomly dropping videos like this. I'm also gonna have tarot videos out too. So okay, so let's end this off. Okay, so I love you, I love me, I love us, I love we. I'll see you soon. Bye.